What's going on, y'all? It's your girl, My Desire, and of course, Denny C23 is in the building. What's going on, partner? We are back.
What's going on, man? We got a goodie for y'all, man.
We've been pretty
Oh,
busy.
we
We've been
have.
very, very busy. All right, y'all. So
Yeah.
this is Reasonable Doubt coming to you through the Onyx Collective, but actually on Hulu, season dose, right? Very interesting season one to say the least. And I'm gonna take just a pinch, of responsibility for introducing my co-host here. Um yeah. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts, buddy?
Listen, man. The show, first season, just to get that out the way, was boy, oh boy. I don't even know how to begin here because it was a lot and not
It was a
enough at the
lot.
same time for me.
Yeah.
We saw the love interest of Michael Ealy that
No one's playing the
kind
crazy
of
guy.
went left. You know what I mean? I really liked his role. I didn't like the way it ended, the way it played out. It was
Mm-hmm.
too left field. But with this new season, I think they must have got some critiques, some advice, something, because they caught my attention with these episodes, man, and
Yeah.
they kind of willed me back in from how the last season ended. I'm not gonna lie. So, what
Absolutely.
about you? How you
So
feel about it?
listen, season two is definitely a banger. Okay. Premiering August 22nd. So we will be present after every episode.
Yeah.
One and two will be dropping together. So that's why you have us to go through both episodes right now with you. If you are a first timer and you haven't watched a show, go check it out. You know what I mean? And if you are back from watching season one, well, welcome back. You got the best in the business to do it because let me tell you,
Sure.
our jokes are nonstop. We are always in sync as a team. And we're going to give y'all the best of the best. Okay. Like that's just what it is. So without further ado, episode
Yeah.
one. All right. Now, your girl Jax is, of course, coming back from the kidnapping, the side piece relationship that she had with Michael Ealy's character,
Yeah.
and she's having some nightmares. Rightfully so. This is what happens when you get traumatized. Um,
Boy, this what happened
and
when you step out. Mm.
all right. As you can see, it's already started. Um, yeah. So what's funny is that Lewis is in the bed with her, and we're "Huh? like, what's happening here?" Uh, your Lewis is back, and he's not fully back, but they are sleeping. Okay, literally catching these, snoring,
All
getting
right, all
rest.
right. Yo,
I'm just saying,
you gotta
gotta make
drag it
sure,
though.
gotta make sure that people understand what's happening here, right?
Listen,
Um,
they know what's going on, man. They see.
listen, do they? I'm just helping them out. So they're just here just trying to reconcile, trying to figure it out. They're taking it one day at a time, which I'm not mad at. I really like the fact that they're even in this position because we could have came back and it could have been them getting a divorce, you know what I mean, or fully
Yeah,
separated. So
that's true.
i'll
That's true.
i'll take the fact that they're in a reconciliation phase. um
Right. Like seeing them in therapy is definitely something I didn't expect from them. So
yeah.
to see them like actively working on their marriage and seeking a third party that's not like a friend or a family member, which is awesome. So
Right.
definitely kudos to them putting in that work, man.
Put in the work for sure. And so we have her getting into this routine what she was in before, right? She would go for a morning jog or morning run, and the episode starts out with her going for this jog, for this run, picking up the phone and telling Shanelle, "Hey girl, let me call you back." And in the utter sheer craziness, Shanelle says, "I killed my husband," right? And it goes into Jack's like WTF, and then this whole thing. So this is like completely, it's not left field because we know in season one Chanel's boyfriend, or maybe then
No, that's
husband,
her husband. No, they was
uh,
always married. Yeah,
there was always married. Okay,
yeah,
so was beating her ass, and I do not condone domestic violence of any sort, whether it's a man
true.
beating a woman or a woman beating a man. Okay, so this scene is crazy, right? She's there. In the midst of all this, let's be clear, right? Jax is still going through therapy, like you mentioned earlier. She's going through therapy. She's having trouble sleeping. The therapist has asked her about, whether or not she's taking her medication. She's said no. She said she didn't have time to get it filled. We both know what that's code for, which is like, I don't want to take this. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
we ain't really trying to do that
Black
drug
people,
thing. You
black
feel?
people got the most unwritten languages humanly possible. I swear to God. Like, I did you get your prescription filled? I ain't have time to do it
I didn't
yet.
have time.
What you mean you didn't have time? You did have time. It's all right. You
Definitely.
wasn't working. What was you doing? Getting on your kids' nerves. You could have filled up your prescription. It's all right.
Facts. The kids are
It's okay.
definitely sick of her at that point.
So I'm
Like,
just saying, man, like it's definitely a lot though, because the even like you said, the therapist asked was she even ready to go back to work. So for
hmm
Shanelle to give her this phone call, so it was very left field for Jax because she didn't understand the depth of the abuse that she was going through. You know what I
right.
mean? So that right there just spoke volumes to like the direction this episode was going. This
Yeah.
season I feel is gonna go in. It's just
Yeah.
great.
I
Yeah. So
definitely agree with that. We get to the house, and, of course, Jack sees the body, and we see this happening, right? So we do see Chanel um with the trophy in her hand. I can't even remember his name. That's crazy. But the husband is basically telling her to call 911 to get help, and she's like
right.
just standing there. And she's what's crazy to me is that we've seen both episodes. So to like go through these simultaneously in my head, I'm like, Shorty was jumping right at the man who's holding his head, actively beating, and telling her to call 911. In my eyes, I'm like, damn, she's scared, like she's in fear for her life. But then I'm also thinking about like, there's a lot happening in episode
Listen,
two.
listen. Hold up. Before you start jumping around, listen.
I know,
For
right?
episode one, we gonna digest it. Cause listen, I feel she genuinely was scared.
Mm-hmm.
I truly feel like she tried to leave. He was gonna kill her, and she grabbed the trophy.
I agree.
However, there is still more to this story, which
Yeah.
is I feel like what the episode two led us on to, because I feel although like how they said in episode one, she was planning to leave. He
Mm-hmm.
probably saw that she was trying to leave, and one thing led to another. Now he ended on the floor with his head bleeding, and she like, why would I call the cops?
Right. But
Why would I call the
that's
ambulance?
that's something that actually in my head I was thinking about as it was happening, and I'm like, that's
But
such a tricky situation,
you're
right?
supposed to though.
Because
It was
you're
self defense.
supposed to. Yeah, but you're
It was
supposed to.
self defense. Honestly, I believe it was self defense. Right, and from episode one, just strictly what we saw in episode one, I really was like, you know what? I feel although she did not call the ambulance, it was still a reaction of self defense.
Yeah,
Being that
I
she
agree with
didn't
that.
call the ambulance is the reason why, and but she called Jax was the reason why I think that this thing got escalated as far as it's going to be. Is
Absolutely. Of course.
because if she would have called and he would have died while they were on the way, it still would have been a lot better in her favor.
Mm-hmm. I
Because
agree.
as we find out, like she waits what 2 hours?
Yeah, 2 hours. So
Talk
the
about
crazy thing about this is that we actively see the bruises on her face. You see the bruises on her neck. Obviously, looks like somebody has been choking her. Right? She said she
right.
was afraid for her life. Um, and it's crazy because as of right now, Jax is like just stepping in to say like, hey, she needs to go to the doctor, to the hospital, make sure she goes through this certain entrance because there's already a press truck out front. We don't want the press to know where she's going and all this other things. And in the midst of that, though, I'm just thinking to myself, this is about to take a serious turn because when he was saying call the cops or call the ambulance, I think like you said, I was just like, all right, this is not gonna go good. So um we basically see this happen, right? They get to the hospital. Jax calls Jack they send her to the hospital. Jax calls Lewis and he's like, she's like, hey, this is what's happening. I need you. Can you meet me? And he says, well, somebody has to pick up the kids. And she goes, oh yeah, that's right. And he's like, don't worry, I got it. Now, Jackson Lewis relationship is very like
Finicky.
finicky. I'm a low key say it's toxic, bro.
It's very
It's
toxic,
Yeah,
honestly.
cause it's
Yeah.
some shit in there. Hurt people, hurt people. A lot of tit for tat, as we'll see further
It's
on.
it's, it's definitely a lot of scorekeeping, and
It is.
that's something I don't like about their relationship. But what I can say
Yeah,
is that they do show up for each other,
they
which
do
is
show up for each
also
other.
which is also probably a part of their toxic like relationship traits. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Is the fact that um like even as if we go think back to like episode in season one, right? Like where she had sex with the guy on the couch and the camera, he watched her and he like jerked off
yeah.
to it. That was freaking weird to me.
Weird.
I couldn't do that. But they had a
They have
similar,
some weird. They got some.
like they
They
have
got
some
some
weird
weird
kinks.
quirks
Yeah,
for
like
sure.
so I feel like that is kind of what they've been missing is like a third party to kind of just add the spice to their life, which is crazy to me.
Listen, I'm not doing this with you right now. We just started anyway. So we at the hospital, right?
Yeah.
And the girls show up, right, which are her other friends. They're all talking, what's happening, this and the third. And one of them asks, like, did you get cleared for work? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, great, because Chanel's gonna need a lawyer, right?
Mhm.
Then we find out that the police are in there with Chanel. And like, come on, I don't understand how many times we have to go through this in 2024 and any show that's made. Please stop doing this. Nobody nobody is supposed to talk to the cops without their lawyer. We know this. So next time, make a scene where the person says, I want my lawyer present. Like, seriously, guys, you're killing me here.
Nah, but no, but keep it 100% right now. The average person don't know their laws, don't know their rights, don't know what they're entitled to as a US
That's true
citizen.
too.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
these shows, I feel what they're doing is bringing awareness to what you're actually supposed to say. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So it can help that person who probably didn't know. The younger generation that
yeah.
probably watched the show that not supposed to, but you know what I mean. Like it happens. So they now they know. Like oh, I remember on this show, Jack said I need a lawyer present. So
I
where's my
need a lawyer
lawyer?
present. Where's my
You
lawyer?
know what I you know what I mean?
This is a
So
fact.
it's the sad truth though. Like a lot of people, especially in those type of situations, they're not thinking clearly. So they're just trying to prove that they're innocent. You know what I mean? They're trying to
Yeah.
seem like they're cooperating, but cooperating sometimes is
Man, F that.
by saying, "Hey, I need my lawyer present."
I'm gonna just
And
look like I'm not cooperating because
nah, nah,
I
nah, nah.
want my
It's a different.
lawyer.
It's not what you say. It's how you say it. You feel me?
Nah, no. I want my
Yeah,
lawyer. I want to talk to
yeah,
my lawyer right now, please. Thank you.
right.
Thank you.
Like man, have a lawyer, please.
So yeah, so of course Jax comes in. She says she won't be answering any more questions. Jax asks, did she tell them anything of importance? She says no. She just told them that he was choking her, which we later find out is a lie because that's when she says that they say that she waited 2.5 hours to call the cops, call the ambulance.
Well,
But then
well, the
she
lie that
also
wasn't a lie that she was getting choked because you seen the bruises. Like that was
no,
real
no, no,
life.
no, not that part. I was talking about
Oh,
that she lied about, that she
oh,
didn't
the
tell
order.
them of anything of importance. Yeah.
Yeah.
So of
Well,
course, again, that
I
is
don't know.
important that she took two and a
Yeah,
half hours to call the cops and that she also
yeah.
moved the body. So like there's a lot
Well, she
that's
just flipped
happening.
him over to make sure that he was still dead. Like I could get that, but I can't get
I
that at the same time. Cause
I'm
like
with you.
she like, oh my god, did I
Listen,
really kill him? Oh wait. I should have probably called the ambulance, but she ran upstairs. She called Jack. She was trying to figure it out.
listen, she was trying to figure it out, and of course, with everything that's happening, Jax decides she's gonna. Well, first of all, she has this panic attack. Then she takes it out on Lewis, basically pushes him out the door per usual, right? He says that he fills her prescription, he gives her the medication, and then she proceeds to go to work because she says at the least bit she has to help walk Shanelle through this.
Yes.
So she goes to work and they're asking her, they're saying, welcome back. They're giving her all this grandiose treatment for the moment. And then they ask her, she's taking the case, and she says that she, more than likely won't go to that she's only helping for right now. And then that's when everybody starts to ask questions like, wait, are you back? Or are you not back? And she's saying, well, she wants to take some time to spend with her family. And this is at the table of the white boys, right? Because it's nothing but the white boys. And
Oh
they
man.
are,
The it was the insensitivity jokes for me. Like makes me want to go kill my wife. That was crazy.
listen, that was
Crazy.
crazy, cringy,
Crazy.
actually.
Cringy. Yes.
Very
Yes.
cringy. But you
Very.
know what? I believe that shit like this happens in real life in situations like this when you're a woman at such a male dominated, career field. So it's just crazy because one minute they're like telling her we happy that you're getting better, taking time for yourself, whatever, but we're also happy that you're back. And now that you're back, because you got cleared, which I know she's hating right now, because at least doc, tell them that I'm only partially cleared, right? Because then maybe I
Nah,
wouldn't have
no,
to
no,
waste
no,
so
no, no,
much.
no, 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 no. It was Jack's fault because
No,
Doctor
what?
asked.
Oh yeah, yeah, no, no,
The
I'm
doctor
blaming
asked,
Jax.
and Jack said, "Yeah, it's fine." She said, "Are you sure? You want to take some time and then let me know?"
Yep,
He said,
yep.
"No, I'm fine. I'll go back to work. They're
That's what
expecting
I'm
me
saying.
anyway." So,
Jax should have said maybe partially clear me, but now she's learning the hard way that now because she's back and she said that she's good to go, she's here
right.
in a situation where they're being very insensitive to her, very insensitive that she even
Well,
knows,
it's not necessarily being insensitive because you gave the okay, so they're going based off of what you said and not how you feel.
That's true too. She
So
probably
say
should
what
have
you
thought about
mean,
that a
mean what
little
you
bit
say,
more.
right? And she didn't because Jax is
Yeah,
impulsive,
very much
and
so.
she does what she wants to do in that moment, and
Very
then
much
takes
so.
the consequences later, which is kind of part of her toxic traits too. So
Yeah,
it's all right.
agreed. So of course, she's swooping in to save Chanel. She gets Chanel, I believe it's a psychologist or a psychiatrist, right? Somebody that gets
Psychiatrist,
to come in
uh,
and
a behavior specialist or
behavior
something like
specialist,
that.
maybe. So she
Something like
comes in to, just
that. Get a
talk to
psyche eval.
Chanel.
Yeah,
Yeah, basically a psyche eval. There we go. And while she's doing that, Jax goes to the DA office, but the she does check in, and the psycho the behavior therapist basically says like Chanel's dealing with survivor's remorse, right? She's
yeah.
still, even in his death, thinking that he's somehow going to come back and like he's going to hit her, he's going to reprimand her, all of these things, which in my experience in some of these shows and things that we've seen before, this is like very much real. Like this is what happens. So Jess goes to the DA office, and of course, her friend, who's not really a friend, but he is a good associate. He's trying to get information. She brings him donuts, and this new chick walks in, and she's a real stick in the mud, man.
No, it's the real stick in the mud. I'm sorry.
I
But
try,
nah, I'm
I
not gonna
try.
lie. Like, she call her what she is, man. She a bitch, you right? And that's what it is. I'm sorry, not sorry. She is the B word,
Listen,
110%. Because, like, she said, we're not supposed to accept bribes from anyone. I was like, oh, she just said you catching bribes, bro.
she definitely accused that man of
Oh
catching a
my
bribe, which is
god.
crazy. With the donut in his hand, it's
With the
like,
what red-handed type of situation, and it's like, yo, it's not even like that. And the fact that Jax is back to work, everything is illegal now because of one person's perception. Crazy,
yeah,
crazy.
crazy.
Got him thrown off the case afterwards.
Afterwards, yeah, I'm not even
Went back and
surprised.
snitched. She's a Karen, and that's what it is. It's given.
Yeah,
Like,
it's really ridiculous, quite frankly.
yeah, I really didn't understand her logic behind that. Like, you said you're not in it to move up and all this, but what was the purpose?
Well, the
You was also
purpose
the donut.
is, yeah, who knows what her purpose is, and quite frankly, she's just, yeah, man. So outside of this, of course, Jack's team is doing all they can to figure out what's what, figure out what's happening, figure out, you know, what do the cops know, what does the DA know, and how is this going to go. And as we mentioned before, Shanelle waited 2.5 hours and then also moved the body, and now it's officially a case. And things are about to get heated because they're now about to charge her. So even though we thought this was going to be simple, turns out, obviously, because then the season would not have started, right? It turns out that it's not. So we move over to one of my favorite parts, which is therapy with Jax and Lewis. And of
Yeah.
course, Jax is late because, well, why wouldn't she be, right? Like, she was working, and not saying that work is not important, just saying that you committed to being here, and now,
Nah, but the circumstances have changed from when I made this commitment, though. You can't hold me to that when you know that my best friend is now possibly going to be on trial, and I'm the only
okay,
person in her corner right now that can actually be
all right,
beneficial. I'm saying you
fine.
got like, I feel sometimes Lewis comes very bratty to me.
He
Like,
so they're both very bratty, quite frankly.
yeah, like I
Both
really
very
feel that way.
bratty.
Like it's one thing if your wife was just out here running the streets, turning up with her
But she's
friends,
not. Yeah.
but she's not. She's out here truly helping people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's bigger than you. It's bigger than her. Like, it's about these two little girls and their mom and their dad they just lost.
Yeah.
Like, keeping
I
it a
agree.
being. And
Yeah, but he's also the dude's friend too. Remember that. So
yeah,
that's a part that plays in this whole dynamic too, because now he has to figure out, like, man, was this dude really, like, yes, he was. Like, I'm pretty sure that,
yes. Well,
so
he knew he
yeah.
was already a cheater.
Everybody
So
knew it was a cheetah, apparently.
right, everybody knew.
That's uh, would you be friends with a man who cheats on his wife?
Nah, not your wife, man. Not your wife. I feel like that's a different level. Like, you got on one knee for a reason, man. I can't condone that. Boyfriend,
Mm.
girlfriend, like, that's not guaranteed. You know, those last like 3 months anyway. Do your thing, bro. But
I'm move. Goodbye, sir. Good
I, I'm
man.
I'm just I'm just keeping it a being, man. Like, I
Listen,
can't be
listen,
mad at
listen,
somebody
listen.
for playing the field. They dating. If you dating, you're dating. But like, if you're married, that's a different level. That's a commitment that you signed
Both
over
are
to each other.
commitments, but yes, one is a commitment
Nah.
with a ring and in front of God. But, like,
Yeah, you
listen,
know, the other
I'm
one
I'm
is
not
just is
I'm not
the
about
other
to do
one
this
is
with you because you about to say
listen,
it's for
man.
play.
Nah, I'm saying it. I'm not saying this for play, but what I am saying is, depending on the length of the relationship, depending on how much accountable I'm gonna hold you to it. You feel me? That's all I'm saying. Like, if y'all
Mm,
been together for a month and you go step out on somebody, like you can't really. I'm not gonna have a cent to say to you. Like you did what you felt you needed to do. But if you've been with your person for like 5 to plus years, and then you go step up, that's y'all basically married. Now I gotta say something. You feel what I'm saying? Like it depends. It depends, man. It depends.
Okay, it
But
depends. Well,
it
speaking of
depends.
toxicity, we're gonna move on to Jack's mama,
Oh my
who's very
god.
toxic.
Oh my gosh. The fact that Jack's mom keep on bringing up this white man pisses me off. Okay,
Listen,
pisses me off every time. Like everything don't gotta be brought back to you, mama. I feel like mama always try to make herself like the sinner whenever it's not, or she try to get
yeah,
into the mix somehow. Like
yeah,
messy, messy, messy. That's why Jack's so damn messy.
I will agree with that.
Get it honest.
But what she was saying was just crazy, and it was right. So she takes her problems to the Lord, and also with a bottle of wine because therapy. She went to one therapy session and she left feeling worse when she went in.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Ma'am,
No, she said I only need my Bible, my wine.
nah,
Listen,
ma'am, you got to do better.
listen, man.
For
I feel
sure.
like
Like,
for the mom to say that and she knows Jax is actively going to therapy is very, very telling of how supportive of a mother she really is. Like
yeah,
it means you don't truly know your daughter,
yeah,
you know? And that's what I feel a lot of people go through with their parents is the fact that your parents can't let go of someone you used to be and accept the new person that you have become a lot of the time. And I feel like
yeah,
Jax has that struggle where she constantly feel like she has to put on for people to see her versus accept her for what she is, which
yeah.
is a
Because I
lawyer.
mean,
Which is
yeah, because her mom was definitely toxic last season. So
yeah,
for sure, this is not even surprising to me.
right,
But and it's not just parents. Sometimes just family members in general, friends, close friends to
right.
you who don't want to see you grow because they like the old you because the old you, as they say in therapy, benefits them, right? So
Mm-hmm.
just a very tricky situation. And I wish that Jack's mom was more supportive. But again, toxic people and hurt people don't know what to say out their mouths, and they intentionally and unintentionally hurt those closest to them. So yeah, So of course, Jax gets the news as she's getting ready to meet Lewis, or not meet him, but she bumps into him at the little juice bar, food bar, and they would decide that they're gonna sit down, but then she gets the call that Shanelle is going to be charged with murder. And she goes to talk to Shanelle after she's been processed and uh in jail basically. And then she goes and she has a sit down. She's at home smoking her J per usual, and or cigarette at this time I think, because I was like, this is nasty, why are you smoking cigarettes? And Lewis Lewis comes out and he's like, you know she's like, it's been a rough day. He said it's been a rough year. And she says she's not going to be Chanel's lawyer, that she's going to choose him, essentially, and choose the family. And so she's going to pawn the case off, not in that way, but like she's going to give the case to somebody she trusts, and which is her friend. And so this is where our guy, Morris Chestnut, comes into play. Um,
Right. Uh,
episode 1 where he's
I'm
smashing
not
old
gonna
girl.
lie. I'm not
It's,
gonna lie. That was funny as hell. That's the funniest introduction to Mora Chestnut I've seen in a while.
yes,
Okay.
I would agree.
And it's really given like Method Man and Power type of vibes. Like that kind of like the older attractive man lawyer coming to
Mm-hmm.
save the day, but he got a show he a womanizer on the low. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was giving that type of energy. But
Yeah, it
I was
definitely was.
excited to see him in this season, and I feel
Mm-hmm.
like to follow up Michael Ealy, I guess Morris Chestnut will be the next best thing to come bring into it. Like, if you're gonna continue to give some eye candy for the ladies, I guess the Morris Chestnut will be it, right? Like,
Hey,
so
listen, you got to
he,
give us the both sides of the spectrum. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Got some milk chocolate, got some dark chocolate, and everybody's happy.
everybody's happy. I guess. Yeah, but I'm excited to see how my man show up, man. Because as we continue on in episode 2, he has some big moments in this episode, man.
He does.
And like,
He pretty much just shows up and shows
like,
out, right? He
yeah,
gets.
he honestly, I feel Jax is really threatened because she did such a great job finding a replacement for herself.
I don't know if she's threatened. I think that he knows what to say. I will say that in this episode 2, we see that he knows what to say. He comes in, he greets the team, he tells Jax, whatever. Then he of course meets the board. She introduces him to the board, and he says, I use, and he gave this real spill too about um, you know, fighting for the women who have been in these situations, even quoting statistics saying that I think it was like 5 out of 10 women are murdered trying to leave their abuser, and then like 1 out of 5 or something like that gets
Yeah,
arrested. So he comes in with the stats. He says that he's here to fight, for this case, fight for Shanelle, and that he's done it many a times before. Um, and they, boys club, the guys are like, are you related to so and so? And he's like, yeah,
yeah,
that's my father. And he tells them where he plays golf, which happens to be another exclusive club that apparently
right.
those boys are not at, so they're quite surprised to learn that he's there.
Right. So my thing with him is he came in, he knew how to play the game, and like I said, Jax was threatened. I don't think it's
Yeah.
because the boys club thing. I just think he knew how to play the room.
Oh,
Like,
no, 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 I'm just saying
you
that the
know?
boy, I'm talking about when they were
Uh,
talking to him, it was the boys
yeah.
club thing. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like
Gotcha.
talking about
Yeah.
golf, talking about your dad and all sorts of other stuff. You know what I mean? Like that's what I meant by that. Yeah.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Denny C23 here with the beautiful Amaya Desire. Welcome back to another review. Today we are talking Reasonable Doubt episode 2. Listen, man, I just want to say what's up, partner, before we get into this. How you doing?
Listen, woof. I'm here. You know what I'm saying? I can't complain. We just
Listen,
yeah.
episode 2. When I say they kind of pulled out all the stops for this episode, I feel like they wanted people to keep watching, and this was the episode to make them keep doing it.
Absolutely. Totally agree
So
with you.
let's just get right into it, man. Like, we see Jackson, Lewis back in bed. Like, this is becoming a repetitive thing now. Like, okay, the kids already know, and Jax doesn't know, the kids know, but the kids already know. So Lewis probably feel a little bit more comfortable. Jax makes
Yeah.
the joke of like, "Hey, maybe you should move back in," and I feel like she kind of don't be doubling down on these things when she playfully say it. So like, how you feel about that? Like, do you feel
I
like
don't
she
know if it
really
was
want him to move in?
I don't know if it was playful. I think that it's a bit of I want you to move in, but also like everything that's happening right now, I need the help. And he is very flexible, right?
Right.
So I think that that is part of the thing that's happening here with them. And also, like he does mention that, the kids know now. And she's like, how they know? And he's like, well, they said they ain't no babies. You know what I'm saying? Like they figuring stuff out. So I think that it's she wants him back. She's saying that, um she wants to put her energy here, right?
Right.
Into the marriage, into the family. So this is like kind of a first step. But continue to go to therapy. That's all I got. Keep
Right.
going to
But
therapy.
All right. So as we talk about therapy in this episode, like the therapist kind of challenges them to, you know, push for that more intimate type of relationship
Mm-hmm.
that they want. So like to go out on a date, kind of make that time, kind of rebuild that chemistry, right?
Right.
So we see them go out on a date, like,
Mm-hmm.
like, do you mind if I just jump straight to the date?
No, go ahead. We can say, yeah.
Listen, let's do it because that date, I'm not gonna lie, I had high hopes. Okay, I had high hopes for the date.
Mm,
It started off strong. It was the
okay.
last bottle of wine I think took him out though.
Yeah, for sure. You know
It
we
was
can't do that. You know we can't do that.
you
They
know.
tried it.
Listen, I think you forget sometimes that you're not 21 no more. You
Hello?
know, and like
Yeah.
you be trying to like. I think a lot of us has been there. Like, let me know in the comments. Y'all been there before? Y'all got a little too turned up, so y'all wasn't able to do what y'all wanted to do at the end of the day night.
Yeah.
Let me know, man. It's a wrap.
Facts. It's definitely happened. I think that as soon as I saw them in the hotel room trying to undress each other, I said, "This is trash. They're both about to fall asleep." I thought it was gonna be one person falling asleep on the other, but they
Right,
fell asleep on each other. And I think that for me, I thought that that was cute because it's also like we want to be here. We had a
right.
great night, but hey, listen, we fell asleep. It's all good. We can try again.
Right, but as we go to realize that for Jax, that's what it was. Like, you know what? It was a good feeling. Like, I feel like that was intimacy, although they didn't seal the deal with the sex. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
And that's what I feel Jax feel is missing. But with Lewis is strictly like physical. Like that's what I think he wanted. And being that that didn't happen, like I think he kind of was a little resentful to her a
He
little bit.
was resentful. I don't think that he's only physical, but I do think that he needs a physical, as most men do. But I also think that I was kind of disappointed that the therapist didn't interject and say that you did have intimacy. You just did not have,
Right,
full intimacy. Because I
right.
think that when you don't distinct that spending time with your person, going on a date, laughing, touching you, kissing you, and again, even though you don't get to the climatic part of that space, it's this very much intimacy, right?
Right.
And yeah, I think you know what is crazy is that I feel like they both can be really bratty at different points, and I feel like this
Right.
was Lewis's bratty moment for sure.
And I didn't expect that. I'm not gonna lie.
Hmm.
Just to be very transparent, I didn't expect it. But then again, he's been a brat a lot during this relationship, being like the growth and the transitions that they've been having. Like, I guess it's not too far off a brand for him. So we're gonna
That's
see.
right.
But also Cory. Let's talk about Jackson Cory. So Jax introduces Cory
Or
to
to Chanel.
Shanelle, and she's like, "Wait, aren't you supposed to be my lawyer?" Like
Hmm.
X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And Cory asks Jax to leave. I thought that was a bold move, personally.
Actually, listen, let me tell you, it was in this moment that I started to dislike Chanel and started to have some sort of like moments where I'm like, because I get that you in the situation, but I'm here to help you. I'm your friend. I'm your longtime friend. I've been here for a while, and you coming at me sideways just because I'm telling you that I cannot represent you because I'm too close to home with this. And your attitude is like, it
Mm,
was this real. It gave girl, I punch you in the face and I ain't like
it-
it. So
but you got to also think like when you know Jax to be the ruthless lawyer who go to bat for all of her clients, and now it's your turn, and she just so happens to have other things going on in her life, so it looks as if like I
it's
get
the
that.
other things, but it is also that she's too close to home, as we see in this as
Uh,
episode, too
yes,
close to home, easily
yeah,
manipulated because your feelings are involved. Your feelings are
this
not involved.
this is very true.
So yeah.
So when Cory like reassures her, like, "Yo, listen, this is what I do." I was he convinced me. Okay, I just want to let you know, like, great job. I'm just saying more Chestnut elevated the level of acting in this show. But to be like very transparent with Jax about how he felt her feelings were affecting his case is something I feel should have came out a little sooner, because as we know, like he says, whatever happens after this point is on you, Jax. Like, because Jax was
Mm-hmm.
upset that Cory decided to keep her in jail, and instead of like letting her out to see her children, things like this, right? And when it comes to Shanelle, I feel like this is definitely a turning point in me liking her character, because I feel like she was very on the fence about whether or not she wanted to manipulate people or wanted to kind of be just do her time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because it was like at one point she did agree with Cory, but when Jax gave her the opportunity, she was like, "Yo, I want to go home." Like,
Yeah.
you know.
I
So it's
mean,
like,
I think she thought about it, but I think she had thought about it with Cory, but I think he, like you said, he did a good job at reassuring her and telling her, like, let me just do this, right? Because if you look like you got it, and he laid it out very well, right? You are a pretty girl with a man who got money, you got kids, right? Like nobody is seeing you as a weak and in need type of woman.
right,
And that's what it needed to present. And as soon as he said what he said and he went on air and he's telling them, like, my client won't be posting bail, you
right,
know, just 2 days later, because of Jax and her inability to see the bigger picture, quite frankly, you
right.
know, now the media is involved. And I, I listen, this is going to be very interesting season. That's all I got to say.
Listen, I just want to know, like, do you think if Cory would have came to Jax with the plan ahead of time, that she would have been more on board with keeping Chanel in jail versus having to hear it on the news?
I think so, but I also think that if you gave him the case and it's his case and he can do what he want, he doesn't have to run it by you. It would have been
That's
a courtesy because it's your friend and he knows that this you care about this person, but
right,
I just don't think that it wasn't a need. If you hand off, that's like me handing you something and being like, "All right, here, handle this. I know you got it." And then coming back later and being like, on second thought, run this by me so I know you got it. That's crazy to me.
because it's like some micromanaging that she was trying
Yeah,
to do, right?
exactly.
Because you chose to step back and you gave me the case. Why can't you let me do it my way? But
Exactly.
as we see, uh, they try to really, I feel like, push a narrative about Chanel online. Like she's
Mhm.
this gold digger, she's this. Like, how do you feel like that influenced their decision though? Like, I feel like that probably would try to influence it. She probably thought she had a better chance of fighting outside of
I
jail.
think I don't think that it influenced her.
Or she didn't care enough.
Yeah, I don't think she cared enough. I think she was thinking solely about the kids, right?
Yeah,
Um, and in that moment when Jax presented her with the option, you know, um, she said, "Listen, let's do it." And the fact that all her friends came to bat for her because she didn't have, which is weird. You know what? Something that I thought about too was like, why didn't Cory just say, like, I know what I said about my client. However, family and friends came together to support her in this time of need to bail her out, because it's not like she bailed herself out with his money.
right. This
The
is true.
friends bailed her out. So I think that there was a missed opportunity there to just say, this is how, uh in need she is, that her friends came and,
Right.
even one put their house on the line, even if it's not
That's
true, right?
right.
You
That's
just
another that you just opened up the next part I was gonna say. Like,
mhm,
as the friends come together and try to get the money together, they find out that JT's jewelry, some of it's fake, some of it they can't
mhm,
sell. And the cousin talks to the husband about putting the house up for the bail. And that right there speaks volumes of how much love this cousin has for
Mhm.
Chanel, but
Mhm.
how crazy this cousin is thinking that her husband will be willing to put her house up for
But
somebody.
I think it was the guilt, because remember we have that moment where she shares, why do you think so much of her stuff was in our garage, right? We were
Right,
slowly getting her prepared to leave him, and she felt guilty is what it was. It was guilt, it was sadness, and it was like, hey, this she deserves to be home with her children.
right.
But you know what I found interesting? What I found interesting was the point where he says, where she says, if it, I would do this if you had asked me and it was any one of your family
Okay.
members. And he said, I wouldn't ask you to do that. And I thought that was very powerful, because I think sometimes we think that our love and passion for our family is how other people's love and passion for their family is. And that's
Right.
not the case.
He said, I wouldn't do that for anyone. This
Yeah,
family security is what I care about. And that's like
absolutely.
the realest thing that you could hear, that you could say, that you could feel. Is like, I
Facts.
understand that she got this going on, but this is my family here, okay? I understand you love your cousin, but this right here is the family I bought into. I
Right.
signed up for, you know? So
Yeah.
like I have to make sure y'all good. And the fact that we got the no, the deliberate no from the husband, and it was left up in the air. Like, are they able to get the money for Chanel? So I'm really confused on how they got this money to get her out.
Yeah.
Like, so I hope
Yeah.
the wife didn't go behind the husband's back.
I hope so.
But
That's a no-no.
the way this season is shaking up, I feel like she did though. I feel like we about to get in some more drama, and Chanel gonna be the root cause.
I mean, I would hope not. And the only reason why I say that is because I don't think that with such a big storyline, let's think about what we have going on, right? We have Jackson Lewis,
Yes,
we have Chanel and Jax, we have
yes,
Chanel and Cory, we have Jackson Cory. And
yes,
so I feel like to add that in would, I mean, it could be a side storyline, it could for sure, but I think that we have so much to focus on, because how does everything that transpired in this episode now shift what's getting ready to happen with Jax and Corey's careers, because now the
yeah.
law firm,
It's
is
about to take the hit, right?
right.
Oh man, because we didn't even get to why they gonna take the hit. But
Listen.
listen, that right there is a great question. But I really want to know. Like, I feel like episode 3 got to give us those answers, man. Like,
Yeah, hopefully they do.
hopefully they do. Um, so as we now know that Chanel is out, Cory comes over to Jackson, kind of gives him a piece of his mind about
Hmm.
her decisions, how she's too
Hmm.
emotional, and Lewis steps in because
Hmm.
Cory
That's his
yelling at
wife.
his house, talking to his
Right.
wife crazy. And I'm not gonna lie, I feel like that moment was a very needed moment between Lewis and Jax, as
Hmm.
well as for Cory to understand, like, listen, y'all might be co-workers, you might be right even in what you're saying, but you're not gonna disrespect my wife in my house.
Right.
Said next time he come
No.
in, he gonna see what a real nigga look like. And I said, oh wow.
I love that. I mean, for me, I feel like Lewis has always been very much the man. He's masculine, he's powerful, he's protective, he is emotional in a good way. Like he knows how to at least say how he feels. Sometimes he can be a bit bratty, just like Jax, but overall, I think that he is actually a good fit for her if she can sit down somewhere, because I think Jax be doing the most sometimes, so she just need to go sit in somebody's corner. um but I love this moment because it's often what a lot of Black women are looking for, right? You want to, even though you may not say it, you want him to show up for you in this way. Protect me. You know what I mean? Show up for me, stand up for me, make me feel like I matter, kind of thing. And especially with all that they have been going through, I think this just reassures her choice to say that I'm choosing my family, I'm choosing my marriage over being on this case for Chanel.
Right. And that is, I feel, something I could get behind 110%. Lewis keeps showing up this way,
Mm-hmm.
and Cory respecting it without having it go any further. He said, "You know what, brother, you right." And,
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
like I thought that was really really good. So we see Shanelle home. She gets to see her daughters. Talking about where's the food. Uh, this part right here was like so like hurtful to me personally because it's like I felt so genuine about how Chanel was feeling in that moment because she started
Mm-hmm.
crying when everyone was like having a good time, and then she just started laughing, and it was like she's so torn in how she's supposed to feel, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like she did just lose her husband, like although she's the one who killed him, like but that is still the children's father, like that's it's so much that she has going on at this moment, so her emotions seem to be all over the place.
Right.
How did you think that conversation went with them? Like how did you like that interaction between them after like the crying and the laughing? And like to me, I feel like that was something that she needed, but I don't feel they really went into depth on like what she really needed to be talking about.
I think you're correct with that. I feel like they talked about it, but just not enough. And I think honestly, I'm okay with that because in such a when trauma hits, a lot of people do not know how to talk about it. They don't know what to say, right?
Right.
Because this is the two-part trauma. Not only did you lose your husband, you killed him. This is impacting your children, your livelihood. Um, what do we say? You know what I mean? Because really, right now, you just need to be feeling safe and that you're home, right? And you can have a moment to be with your children. I just think that it's it's one of those things where they have to follow up, and I think they were going to do so. So
Right.
I'm okay with how that they had the conversation. I think her feelings are just it's a lot. She's overwhelmed emotionally, and I think that's to be expected. You know what I mean? Because you just don't know how you're really going to feel in that moment. You're fearing for your life. You also don't want to hurt this man, but you don't know if you have any other choice because if you don't, then he's going to do exactly what he's been doing. You know what I mean? It's just a lot
Right.
happening in that moment for her.
Right. So from there, like not too long after is the actual funeral of JT,
Mhm.
where not only does Chanel decides to attend, but she has film reporters there and runs into JT's mom, obviously, because it's her son.
Mhm.
So the
Mhm.
mother-in-law, it kind of brings her to the side to talk to her and kind of read to the field, like on some, I wish it was you, like, ah, ah, ah. And
Yeah.
Chanel told her, like, you're just as guilty because you knew he was beating on me and you
Mhm.
did nothing. And what are your thoughts on that? Like that interaction? Because that was crazy.
Yo, I whenever I see scenes like this, I am so disgusted because art imitates life.
Mm,
So many mothers know that their sons are abusive, right?
mm,
Because they at some point may have endured abuse themselves, because that's usually kind of how it starts. But you know your son is abusive. You
right.
know that he's been beating me. You know that you've seen these things occur. We have children together and you didn't feel the need to at least have a conversation with your son, and to then turn around and say you wish it was me. What? So dirty, just so disgusting. You know what I mean? Like that's literally how I felt watching that scene. It was very cringy. She does a good job, whoever's playing JT's mom, because I hated her the whole entire time she was talking. So you know that a actor or actress is doing well when you really hate them and you don't know them. You know what I
Right.
mean?
That's a
So
fact.
I didn't like it one bit. I mean, um, but yeah, I think that people need to understand you too can stop things like this from happening, right? Because if
Right.
you know that your son is abusive, get him some help. tell him that you're gonna help the wife get away or whatever to have you until he gets it together, something, anything, because I don't want either party to die. But let's be very clear that the abusee definitely dies way more than the abuser does in these situations.
Yeah, and that is the part that I felt not only the mom didn't understand, but a lot of the reporters and things like that. It's like, yes, I get it. The evidence looks bad, but at the end of the day, we need to know like what was the true reason behind it. Because as we
Right.
continue to go on in the episode, we see Shanelle makes a phone call to some anonymous number and basically says to someone like, remember that thing? Yeah, I'm ready to go through with it now. And
Hmm.
that right there sets everything into motion now, which made this the most exciting episode to me of the season because
And
it's like, yeah, what you gonna say?
and I was just gonna say, this is after we find out that the money has been moved, right? Remember,
Yeah,
we the scene before, they have all the paperwork laid out. The
yeah.
assistants are finding all the evidence, finding what they need, and I forgot his name, but I think it's Dan.
Daniel,
Yeah,
Daniel,
he comes back and he's like, "Listen, money was moved. 30 million has been moved over the last, 6 months. There were some changes that were made. This was done
right?
without his knowledge." You know what I
Shell
mean? There's
company,
a
private
shell company, like,
investors. Yeah.
things looking real shady. And then we see her make that call, and I'm like, my thought was initially, like I told you as we were watching it, I'm like, oh, she's gonna take the kids, right?
Hmm.
Like she's gonna take the kids and she's gonna run. And we see this dynamic where her show up with the book bag. Like, I just wanted to make sure she had whatever she needed, and she's giving her friend this long monologue of like, thank you so much. And I love you. And I'm like, nah, she's about to make a run for it.
Yeah, like that's the thing. I was banking so hard on she wasn't gonna run. Like just like Jax, just like I guess the friends and the cousin, like we didn't think that Chanel would be a runner, a track star, you know.
Yeah.
But when things look as bleak as they are for her, I can understand. Especially but to back up the money thing, I think she was stealing money because she really was had intentions on leaving him, which is why
Yeah.
stuff was at the house, you know. But she said, I'm not leaving here empty handed.
Mm-hmm.
And on the way out, he got physical. It did, she didn't even get to make it out to the end goal. But now she's probably putting that same plan in motion. That's what I'm thinking. But it's the wrong time to do it because she should have waited
It's the
until
wrong time to do it. She should have
right,
stayed. She should have just stayed in jail. Because
right,
even if they found the money, right, which they
hmm,
would have, I feel
right.
like her being behind bars would have at least said like, I, I don't know, like she wasn't able to get to the money, something of the sort, right? Because if you're
Yeah,
not able to get to the money, then like, okay, maybe she was just moving it because she wanted to leave. She does have the kids. They live a certain kind of lifestyle, but now I don't
yeah.
know, man. It just looks crazy.
And it does look very crazy. And for them to have spotted the money, I think it was definitely smart for Corey to go visit the DA to see how he should play his hand. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But all that's out the window now because Chanel want to
Yeah.
be a runner, be a track star. Let us know,
Yeah.
man. What you think? You think Chanel coming back? You think Chanel just needed a break, just needed a little vacation? You know, she just been in jail for a week, so maybe. Who knows? I don't know, man. But
Maybe. I don't know. I just think that it looking at everything that had transpired through this episode, when Corey calls Jax and they're like, you can't find Chanel, and he's like, well, she's like, well, she couldn't have gone far. And then he goes, yeah, she could go far with 30 mil that
yeah,
she's moved out of the account. And Jax
right.
is stuck on stupid. And he's like, yeah, which means now, we're screwed. And I think that I'm interested to see how this plays out because I do feel like this is an exact example of Jax's impulsive, not thinking it through behavior. And so this is kind of showing up in every aspect of her life. So I'm interested to see how this is going to play because she just came back. You're not making a good decision just based off you coming back into the firm,
Hmm.
and you're gonna cost the firm millions of dollars with this. So this is about to be insane.
Honestly. And on top of that is she wanted so hard to prove that she could get it done her way, and she didn't even have all the facts. She should have
Nope.
known. She should have known to stay out of it when she found out that she got called before the cops.
Mm-hmm.
And that should have been the deciding factor. Be like, all right, why'd you call me before
Right.
you called the cops? You
Right.
turned the body over to make sure he was dead. It's not sounding good for you. So it's
It's
yeah,
not.
stay in jail. Stay in jail.
Yeah.
But no, but no, it's all right though. We're gonna see how they do. I have faith that Corey's gonna make something shake in a positive direction. He's gonna
I
have
hope
enough
so.
access. Somebody's gonna find Shanelle. Maybe
They're gonna spot her
sooner
somewhere. Yeah.
hopefully sooner than later. Yes, hopefully she doesn't make it too far, because if she does, that's gonna be so much worse.
Yeah.
So much worse.
I agree
And
with
I
you.
hope Jack doesn't get called as an accomplice, because it was her dumb decisions that made it possible. So
Yeah, man, this is gonna be a lot. And just thinking about if it does start to impact Jax, that means it start to impact the marriage and the kids. So
yes, and whew, we're gonna see that that might not be too great either, because Lewis, as he said, was JC's friend as well, so he has his own mixed emotions about the situation.
Yep.
Like, you killed my friend.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
so oof. Guys, let us know what you're thinking about him, man. Have y'all been keeping up with the drama? Let us know. Who y'all think?
Yeah.
Who y'all think is gonna come out on top? Is Jax gonna fix her own mess, or is Cory gonna have to bail her out? Is Shanelle gonna show up, or is Shanelle gonna stay gone for a while? Like, let us know. Write it down below.
Listen,
Write it down
Bell
below.
Corporation, she hiding now in the Cayman Islands. Okay,
Listen,
she
I'm not gonna
where
front.
where there was a no extradition rule or law.
Right? Listen, she is definitely getting her Sada Shakur on now. Like, she is gone. She's going to Cuba. She said, I ain't coming back.
Not Cuba. Yeah. Well, let us know, guys. Let us know what you think. What you feel about this season. What would you like to happen this season? How do you want to see it play out? Definitely let us know your thoughts, and you know where to find us here, Big Go Belt Media, right
Yeah.
after the show airs. Peace,
Peace.
y'all.